Hi, we're the 10 of us coming to you from New York City today. I'm Ginny.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Terry, and this, of course, is our fourth big show. Today is,
October 20th, 2019.
and we're in Ohio for number one, and out in San Diego for number two, and back in Ohio for number three. And today we're on Roosevelt Island,
In New York City.
and so we're going coast to coast. And two new members. So we have you've met all of our Tau girls, all five of our Tau girls, but only two guys. So the other three guys, who three guys we're missing here, Jim?
We're missing Bill. We're missing Ken.
Well, I don't miss Ken.
And Denny.
And Denny.
Denny, the captain. And you'll meet all those guys pretty soon, and hopefully we'll have some singing on the coming shows, right?
That would be nice.
Jenny is our very cosmopolitan New York girl. And Jim's now living out in the country, right?
In the country, Western Pennsylvania.
So we were going to chit chat today about the differences of boomer people living in the country. Sound like Donnie Marie, don't we? living in the country vis-a-vis living right here in New York City.
Yeah, well, to live in New York City, it's a challenge, and yet it's filled with such energy. So many people with so many great ideas. And sometimes I even have sensory overload by the time I get home because you are stimulated by these ideas and people and culture and foods. And, my theory of New York is everything says buy me, touch me, feel me, smell me, eat me, because you're walking down the street and you're just assaulted by all of that wonderful stuff. And it's one of the treasures of New York, all the different cultures that are here. You hear all different languages on the streets.
Every now and then, even English.
Well, you hear everything, and that's what's so cool about it. And we are all these little neighborhoods. There's Greenwich Village, there's Tribeca, there's NoHo, Soho, Roosevelt Island, the Upper East Side, the Theater District. There's everything going on here, which makes it exciting to live here.
But there are advantages in the country, aren't there, Jim?
There are advantages in the country. And the advantage is you get to slow down and take a breath.
That's true.
Yes, Brookville, as you were saying, is a small town. It's a historic town. Most of the town of Brookville is on the National Register of Historic Places.
Remind us in Pennsylvania, where is Brookville? Is it?
Brookville is right on I-80. It's in the north central Pennsylvania. It's about 2 hours from Pittsburgh, 2 hours from Erie, maybe 4 hours from Philadelphia.
On rolling hills or forest, or what's it like?
Pennsylvania is all rolling hills. Brookville is all rolling hills. You cannot go into or out of Brookville without going either up or down a hill. And in Pennsylvania, the only straight roads are bridges.
What a great line.
But that's so true. And every time I go to the country, I think about how wonderful it is, and how quiet especially at night. Oh, I think I hear the coffee perking.
Well,
so should I take a break here? Let me just go get it. I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So tell us more about the nifty thing about living in the country. What are some of the great advantages, especially if you're a boomer retiring to the country?
It's a calm place to live. It's quiet in terms of not only the noise level, but in terms of what Jenny was talking about, the excitement level. There isn't a sensory overload in the country, but it's a comfortable place to live. There are good places to eat. There are good hospitals, surprisingly enough. The hospital in DuBois, 20 miles away, has a very close relationship with the Cleveland Clinic, and therefore they have the skills that you wouldn't expect to find in a rural area.
Like a couple of us boomers, including myself, you just got a stent put in.
I
the
did.
Old cardiac there, didn't you?
I moved to Brookville from Ohio, and within a week, I had to go get a stent put in.
So much for that nice calm life out in the country. No, but at any rate, but the In the old days, the idea was you live here in New York or you live where I do out in LA. You have a lot of medical facilities, but you would say the same is true in the country now, right?
It seems to be. They took good care of me. They took immediately, they had the latest technology. I could watch my heart beating on the screen. It was
Wow.
quite amazing, and they put me back together, and everything's fine.
Ah,
Thank goodness. We no, I'm going to sit on those. I was thinking also about the difference that LA is, the laid back LA. Tell us. Well, I have an impression of LA, where everybody smiles all the time and everybody's drop dead gorgeous, even the guy who parks your car. That's my impression of LA.
Well, LA, I moved out of Centerville, Ohio, where we all went to high school and all graduated in '65. Yes, 1965, not 1865. And I lived in Chicago for a while. I lived right here in New York City. Have a great love affair with New York City. And but I've been out in LA for a long while, and there is, like the Neil Diamond song, a feeling of layback. But there's also what does Burt Bacharach say in San Jose, where we stayed in 2 years and all the stars that never were are parking cars and pumping gas. I think I got those lyrics wrong.
Yeah.
But it is very definitely a different feeling. There's a vibrancy in here in New York, and LA is a little bit more relaxed. But the big city has its advantages of theater. There's so much great theater here in New York, of course, and LA, and the entertainment and the museums. So there's that excitement for it. But it is a little more expensive, I suppose, for us boomers to set up shop in a big city like Chicago or New York or LA compared to Brookville. The cost of living in Brookville is going to probably be a little better, right, Jim?
Well, one of the things that I think is so interesting is that people our age now, in our 70s, don't just want to retire somewhere.
Exactly.
They don't want to go quietly into the night anymore. They've got all this wisdom, all this education, all this experience, and they want to bring it possibly to something new, or just not stop working. Like, for instance, I'm still working in my company. I love it. They love me. My clients still think I provide value, and I love doing it. Now, if I was in pain or if I was ill or something, that would be a different choice that I might make. But all three of us are still working, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a lawyer and he's a lawyer. So, I think that
some girls are just surrounded by lawyers.
Yeah, maybe there's something that we attract. But I think it's a real transition that the boomer generation is making, that some of us can't afford to stop working, but most of us don't want to stop working. We might take the skills we learn and put it maybe toward a nonprofit, or try something we've always dreamt of trying. But it's just like, I don't think retirement is the same definition that it's always had.
Well, I'll go farther than that. I think the entire word is slowly but surely leaving our daily vocabulary, because it's our boomer generation. Our boomer generation is saying, hey, there's a whole lot to do. We're not going to just sit and knit and grow older. We're going to move one activity to a different type of activity.
Which isn't bad to sit and knit, because I did that. I had a hand-knit sweater company for a while, but it's just a different attitude toward whatever you're choosing to do, and yeah.
In that regard, I have been finding that there's a different attitude of the younger folks toward us.
Tell us about that.
In my company, I'm the old man. Okay.
You're the Bernie Sanders of the group.
No.
Let's move along after that remark.
But our president is in his 50s. Our CFO is in his 50s. And
Donald Trump's in his 50s?
No, stop it now.
I'm confused.
And Most of the managers, most of the people who make the company run are 40s, 50s, and that's about it. But here I am in my 70s, and with the white hair and the length of experience, they actually listen to what I have to say. Surprise, surprise. But it's given me a level of confidence in what I do that I haven't had before.
That's great.
Isn't that great? I love that.
Well, I think the American culture with our boomer generation, one of the things that I think is happening, and hopefully our show is going to bring this to light, is we're catching up with the other cultures around the world. Other cultures have revered the age and wisdom and experience. I believe Eastern cultures and
I don't think I'd go so far as to think that the young people revere the older
we're getting
generation.
there. We're
No,
getting there.
but I'm not so sure about that. I think this experience, I mean, we're talking about somebody already in their 40s and 50s where they have some experience to respect
Yes.
that your experience tells them something. But still, I think it's a unique position we're in. You know,
Okay, for all those who don't revere us, don't tune in next week. However,
you can tune in. You can tune in.
however, we're so excited to do this show. This is our first show from New York. We're going to try to do LA and New York and Ohio and try to get all the Midwest and try to get all the experiences of our great culture with the 10 of us. We're looking forward to hopefully having all of us together instead of 3 or 4 at a time and do a little strumming and singing. I mean, that's allegedly what we do. We're a folk singing group, or I should say singing group. That we do other stuff than just the traditional folk songs. But we're so excited to have Jim, who's come over from Pennsylvania. We're so excited to be here on Roosevelt Island. And we're so excited to wrap up number 4 here on October the 20th. And a quick shout out to my relatives, Neil and Casey, that we set up on the mountaintop and watched them get married yesterday at the South Carolina, North Carolina border. How beautiful that was. But for now, let's all say goodbye from New York City.
Bye from New York.
I know.
And look forward to more 10 of Us shows. Bye now.